Hey everybody, this is Larry. This is day 12 of the Leetcode Day Challenge. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me on Discord, let me know what you think about this one. Luckily, we got an easy one, so I could take a break. I'm so tired. I ran 6 miles today, but I was trying to go for like a virtual PR. Um, I went all out, did okay, like an 8 minute something pace. But yeah, so it's tough. I think one thing I want to talk about at some point, maybe on my other channel, if you know about my other channel where I talk about training and learning and all these things, is that I think they're just, and this comes up, excuse me, this comes up in the context of Leetcode too, right? Because I think there are different type of difficult things, right? And I think that's where people have to figure out, where how they want to be how they want to be hardened against difficult situations that they're in, right? And what I mean by that is that, okay, before this, I was a weightlifter, not a good one. Like, I could bench, at my peak, I could bench 225. I stopped because I don't know, I was the strongest guy in the gym at that time. No one benched back then. So I didn't keep going. And I didn't go to hardcore gym, I suppose. I could squat like 340. I think 344, 345. I gotta look it up. And I could deadlift like 340 something as well, right? Not like crazy numbers in the days of, and all these in pounds, not kilograms, just to be clear. But like good numbers before Google was a thing, and now that I know that it is not that good, but back then I was like the strongest guy I know, So it's kind of funny in that way. But well, what I'm talking about of toughness is just that in that in that context, the tough thing is just like going into it, right? There's this idea of going into this event or this one thing, like, okay, let's do it, Larry. You got this. Like you have to hype yourself out. And it's a little bit scary because, you could get crushed under the bar, you squat and, I don't know, like hurt your back, pull deadlifts. But I guess deadlifts is like you could really hurt your back if you really like do it wrong. But in general, for me anyway, my weakest point is the low lift off. So usually if I can pull it, it actually usually is not that bad because it's just where my like the low pickup. But anyway, my point is that like the fear is there, or the toughness is there, and the scary part about it is just the part getting you not to do it, right? I kind of make the analogy with skydiving, which I've done a couple of times, or even maybe bungee jump. I've never done bungee jumping because I don't know, just never came up. But stuff like that, right, where you just commit for like 2 seconds and then you're done, I mean, skydiving, you commit and then it just keeps going, but it doesn't get scary because you hit terminal velocity. That's another story. But at least for me, right, you do a squat, you do your heavy max squat, it's like 10 seconds and you're done, and as those of you, and this is a long intro, but I mean, this is a easy, so if you're watching this, I appreciate it, and hopefully you're just here for a little bit of story time. But as I kind of recently pick up running, I mean, I used to do like more track type things or sprint type things because that's all the sports that I was related to. Like all the American sports, I really sprinty. I never realized that. I did do a lot of cardio in a way when I used to play ultimate frisbee. I don't know if that's a thing people know outside of like, I don't know, certain areas. But so there was a lot of running on that, but not like structured. And I definitely didn't like continuously do it, and there's a lot of subbing in and out anyway, so definitely a lot of anaerobic versus aerobic, right? So this is the first time, and it's kind of, I think for me it is definitely a new sensation. I mean, I've done this before, but every time I do it, I feel like I've forgotten how like the hard part isn't or the hard part isn't in 2 seconds. The hard part is constantly. Like for me, for today, I did like a 50-minute 10K. Not crazy good, but like I only started a couple of months ago, so like I'm happy with it. But my point there is just that, like during that last half an hour where I was pushing myself, I'm like, oh my, I'm still half an hour away. I want to stop. I can't stop. Like there's no reason for me to finish it. Like there's no, I don't need to Gorgons it. Like if it comes to the point where there's an injury risk, I don't need to go against it. I could just like stop, right? But because I am doing it in a safe way at that point, it is just so much easier to give up because there's almost no reason, right? Like what is it good for, you know? But that's the hard part, is that you kind of have to keep pushing yourself to kind of keep going and keep going and keep going for 30 minutes straight, and longer for a marathon and half marathon and so forth, right? Obviously, depending on how hard you go out. And yeah, I think it's just like a different kind of toughness, right? And then the other thing is adherence, right? Adherence is something that I talk about a lot, in terms of a training plan. And I don't know why I keep on looking this way. Sorry. But yeah, in terms of, I'm just thinking, I think. But I think that, I mean, this is a big thing in both training, right? Like, or weight training or weightlifting, or, yeah, well, both. And powerlifting and even running, right? Everything is just about adherence. And what is adherence? I can't even say the word, so how can I describe? What is adherence, right? It's just about having a plan and then sticking to that plan day in, day out, getting in and out of all the mileage, right? Just keep on going, right? What am I talking about? Or like, what's the point about this, right? And that's a different type of toughness, because anyone can, like, I feel like most people can gather themselves for 10 seconds and then just do the thing, right? And maybe you can use tricks to convince yourself to be tough for one day, or 1 hour, half an hour, or whatever, right? And I definitely do those as well. But adherence is something different, right? And I talk about this on my streaks video as well. Adherence is about every day, right? I mean, not literally every day necessarily, but I mean, maybe it is, because I think one thing, some people struggle to keep themselves on a plan, right? In the sense that they may get lazy to go to the gym on one day or another day. For me, sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes, like, my running, I run 6 to 9 miles. I try to run about 6 to 9 miles, like 5 days out of 7 days. And to be honest, for me, adherence means that I rest on the 7th day, because otherwise I would maybe just run and not get enough rest. So that's what adherence is. It's about, and for that, from that, as a reason of that, you have to find out what you really are going for, and what is it that you really want, right? Because it's hard to stick to something for months, years, if you don't have a reason to do it, right? And at the end of the day, you have to figure out what matters to you, right? Because, look, who cares if you have, are you a different person if your rating is 2,000 versus 1,999? I mean, if you think so, then maybe you should figure out what your priorities are, right? But the time that you spend with your friends, your family, the people you care about, and maybe, working on Leetcode will allow you to be more prepared for an interview that gets you that job, so that your parents don't have to worry about you, or something like this, right? Well, that actually means something, right? And that will allow you to, work on it day in, day out, and figure out what is it that you want. So as I say that, I'm reminded of a meme about, I don't know why there's this meme about, like, everyone's like, hey, I don't know if people know this. Let me know in the comments if you know this meme. But people on my Discord has been talking about variations of this meme about, like, hey, my how does that go? I lied to my girlfriend about my Leetcode rating, and she's about to figure it out. What should I do? And then there's like 10 variations on that. And I'm just like, what is going on? What are people doing? Why are people doing this? I don't know. Maybe I'm just old and not silly enough. I don't know. That's another story. But no, I mean, find your purpose, and you'll figure out, and you'll find the will to do it when it matters to you, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, your priorities are your priorities. If something is important to you, you have to, that means that you're willing to prioritize it above other things, right? And none of this has to be Like it doesn't have to be that crazy. I think a lot of stuff like Leetcode is not life or death. Like if I could choose between spending 3 hours on Leetcode versus spending 3 hours with someone, I'd probably spend it with someone else, or something like this, right? Or someone I care about, obviously. So yeah, figure out what's important, and the quote unquote motivation will come. I don't like that term motivation. I don't think motivation keeps you going. It is just about being honest with what you value and what you prioritize, right? I mean, at the end of the day, everyone thinks they want a big house, they want big money, they shiny cars or whatever, but when it comes down to it, none of that matters if you already have the things that you care about, right? Anyway, all right. This was a little bit of a side. I don't know how. All right, that was like a 11 minute on a rant. I don't even know how I handled that. Like I said, maybe I'll kind of edit this or repurpose this into my other channel. But let's get. I mean, this problem is pretty easy, so I don't even know how many people are watching this. But we'll actually take a look. Well, it is a easy. So yeah. Okay, so you give an n by n matrix, generate a max local size of n minus 2 by n minus 2 such that okay, so what you want is a convolution of the thing, right? And that's pretty much it. I mean, you can just do for loops. I mean, this is not rocket surgery, right? Yeah, I mean, I think this is just a for loop. It's fine. I would also say if you're really interested in looking, I mean, the way that we're going to do it is just kind of, in this case, 3 by 3, which is 9, times n, which is, I guess, O of n, because the 3 by 3 is constant. But let's say you want to do it for something that's not a constant 3 by 3, right? Can you do it faster? And the answer is yes. You should look up convolution and then discrete fast Fourier transform. I think it's just I always mix them up, or I didn't mix them up. I say it weirdly. It's just discrete Fourier transform, which implies the fast, I think. Which is that. I mean, even if you don't know how, even if you read this and don't know how to solve it this way, which I don't expect most people to actually solve it this way, at least not for this problem. It is actually a good read on divide and conquer and kind of all these things, and it deals with. It has a lot of things to do with real life as well. Like everything that you see on screen right now, even everything is compressed, and that compression, how do you get a compression? Well, you run a compression by, and I'm hand wavy a little bit. Maybe I'm a little bit incorrect. Sorry. Leave me in the comments how incorrect I am. But basically, the idea is that you transform an image into this signal. A little bit noisier signal of the distribution of the pixels, say, and colors and all these things, and then you do an operation on it that converts it into a way that is more compressible, and then to look at it, you could look it up, or you do the reverse operation, and this is how you get JPEGs and stuff like this, right? Pretty cool stuff if you are very interested in learning about this stuff. But I'm not gonna do that. That's way above anything I can do within like any reasonable amount of time. So let's just solve this problem. I mean, this is fine, right? Can it be negative or whatever? Less than 100. Okay, that's fine. Right, and I know it's a square, but I like writing it like this because then I don't have to think about, like, I don't know. And in this, at least for this particular problem, it doesn't matter, right? I think that's the key thing, is that it doesn't matter. It's like that Linkin Park song, right? It doesn't really matter. That's not how the song goes. In the end, it doesn't really matter. One thing, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna get whatever. But yeah. For this problem, it's agnostic on these. So like, if the input changes in a way that I misread, then this would still work, right? That's what I was saying. Because some problems, you need you needed to exploit, or the idea is that yeah, there is an exploitation that you use because it's a square. Like you use the fact that it's a square to be able to solve it in a different way, and that makes it a little bit different. But yeah, okay. Oops. Right, so this is what we care about, or this is where we dump it, and then now we just do right. Just go di in. Nope. No, I mean, actually, this is it, but this is the grid. That's why I got confused. And that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward. You don't have to check for bounds because it should be, everything should be in bounds. Give it a submit. This is linear time, linear space, both lower bounds, because that's the size of the input. You cannot do better than reading the grid, which is linear time, times 9, I guess. And in linear space, because that's the size of the output. Also cannot do better than that. Of course, I have to add the disclaimer because I feel like every time I say that, sometimes I get comments. But it is linear because it is linear in the size of the input. The size of the input is R times C. So yeah, sometimes if you want to say it in n, because this is a square, the size of the input is n squared. The size of the or the time complexity is O of n squared, so this is linear in the size of the input, and also linear in the size of the output for the same reason. But that's all I have for today. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my intro. It's a very long one, but hopefully the problem didn't challenge you enough that you're just here to whatever. That's all I have though. If you join the contest later today or when yeah, good luck. Yeah, stay good, stay healthy, good mental health. I'll see y'all later and take care. Bye bye.